Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to talk about the distributions of 12 regular meridians. The general rule for 12 regular meridians is lateral and symmetrical distribution on the head, face, trunk, and limbs. Distributions on the head. In 12 regular meridians, 6 yang meridians, which include 3 yang meridians of hand and 3 yang meridians of foot, go to the head. Because of this, there is a saying that the head is the convergence of all yang meridians. The distribution pattern of the yang meridians on the head is that yang ming meridians occupy the anterior part of the head, forehead. Shao yang meridians lie on the lateral side of the head, temporal region, while the Tai yang meridians run on the posterior part of the head, occipital region. Therefore, in clinic, we can deal with headaches of different area according to the distribution rules. For example, in a case of headache, along yang ming meridians, the acupoints of large intestine meridian and stomach meridian would be used. Distributions on the surface of trunk, at waist and back. Lighter meridian of foot, Tai yang, is distributed 1.5 cun and 3 cun lateral to the posterior midline. On the surface of abdomen, kidney meridian run along 0.5 cun lateral to the anterior midline. Stomach meridian along 2 cun and spleen meridian 4 cun. On the surface of chest, the distances are 2 cun, 4 cun, and 6 cun respectively. If we divide the width or length of various portions of the human body of patient into definite numbers of equal units, 1 unit can be determined as 1 cun. Let's move on to the distributions on the limbs. The inner and outer sides of the limbs are determined by the body position as the picture shows. The thumbs and the big toes point to the front and little fingers point to the posterior of the human body. 6 yin meridians run along the inner side of the limbs and on the chest and abdomen. 6 yang meridians run along the outer side of the limbs and on the head, face, and trunk. The 3 yin meridians of hand run on the inner surface of the arms. Conversely, 3 yang meridians of hand occupy the outer surface of the arms. Similarly, the 3 yin meridians of foot occupy the inner surface of the lower limbs, while the 3 yang meridians of foot run on the outer surface of the lower limbs. In terms of the 12 regular meridians, distribution on the surface of the limbs, the Tai yin and yang ming meridians lie in the anterior portion. The Jue yin and Shao yang meridians run in the middle portion, while the Shao yin and Tai yang meridians travel in the posterior portion, except in the lower part of the shank and the foot, where the foot Jue yin meridian runs anterior to foot Tai yin meridian. The foot Jue yin meridian goes back and runs between the foot Tai yin meridian and foot Shao yin meridian after the crossing point, which is 8 cun above the inner malleolus. The red line represents liver meridian, while blue one refers to spleen meridian. The following pictures show the course of 12 regular meridians, especially the distributions on the limbs, because of the important role of the acupoints on the limbs. Long meridian of hand, 太阴, mainly runs along the anterior aspect of the inner side of the upper limbs. Large intestine meridian of hand, 阳明, chiefly runs along the anterior aspect of the outer surface of the upper limbs. Stomach meridian of foot, 阳明, mainly distributes anterior aspect of the lower limbs. Spleen meridian of foot, 太阴, chiefly occupies anterior aspect of the inner surface of the lower limbs, except the lower part of the shank. Heart meridian of hand, 少阴, mainly runs along posterior aspect of the inner surface of the upper limbs. Small intestine meridian of hand, 太阳, chiefly occupies posterior aspect of the outer surface of the upper limbs. Bladder meridian of foot, 太阳, mainly runs along posterior aspect of the lower limbs. Kidney meridian of foot, 少阴, chiefly occupies posterior aspect of the inner surface of the lower limbs. Pericardial meridian of hand, 厥阴, mainly runs the course between long meridian and heart meridian. Triple and jasper meridian of hand, 少阳, chiefly occupies the course between large intestine meridian and small intestine meridian. Gallbladder meridian of foot, 少阳, mainly along the lateral side of the surface of the lower limbs. Liver meridian of foot, 厥阴, runs between spleen meridian and kidney meridian after the crossing point, which is 8 cun above the inner malleolus. Now, let's review what we learned today. This class, we have learned the distribution regularities of the 12 regular meridians and obtained a good knowledge of the courses of 12 regular meridians. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. Next class, the connections and the exterior-interior relationships of 12 regular meridians will be discussed. See you next time.